Hello. Ah, shit. I forgot to turn the air conditioner off. Hold on. I'm back. This soundtrack that we're listening to is very good. How's it going? Grid, thank you for 112 months. Appreciate it. Max.
Yes. Give me that. Shit.
Thank you for 109 months. Appreciate it. Rip Grump. I should have put in the title what I was doing because I said what I was doing last night and then they don't really have a specific category for what I'm doing. I think it falls under art, but it's definitely tenuous. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's right. Thank you, Fox. Business, art, and design. Put me in the corporate category. There will be no drawing. So I showed off a little bit of this before, and I don't quite remember what you guys last saw. But I will tour through what's different since the last time I showed it. Actually, I'm just going to tour through the whole thing because I don't remember what's different. So, off the top, well, it's no one, I mean, even on desktop Jazzy, no one's going to be able to tell what they're looking at because it's going to be real small. Oh, you only saw the light version. Okay, cool. Well, now there is a dark version. But yeah. So to give you the backstory here, um, Craigit put together a store a while back called Cosmic Crate, and he built it out to try and build a merch solution, not just for me, but for uh, other creators as well. And I am working on finally contributing to it. I've wanted to for a long time, but I just didn't have, I hadn't had time. I was really busy, blah, blah, blah. But being a Shopify guy has kind of been my thing for the past many years now. So I am trying to put all of my knowledge that I've gained into Cosmic Crate. This is the current store. This is indeed the Secret of Mana soundtrack. I had to let Fox cook. Cooking was what Fox was doing, and finally got there. Yeah, Craig has been busy too. We've both become corporate shills. Because at some point, that's what you have to do to survive. So, let's see. I'll give you a little tour of the existing store so you can get an idea of what it's all about. Craig, you can speak to some of this as well, particularly like the backstory of the store, because I don't think you didn't set out to make it just because of me at the beginning, like from the beginning, even really, right? Didn't you already have other people that wanted to kind of sell some stuff, or this was just sort of something that you had been wanting to do? That's not what I'm saying. Golly. So the way it's set up right now, I think this is a free theme. I think this is a free Shopify theme. And there's essentially like the creators are all collections and they're all along the top here. And then the rest of this is essentially kind of like a PLP or product landing page. And just product cards after product cards. The contents of the store. I don't know if there's any logic to the order of this that they're appearing. If it's like there is some stuff in terms of like with collections on Shopify, they can sort of automatically sort themselves by like best selling and whatever else. I don't know if that's the case here or what. But this is the homepage currently. And then if you hit view all, so this takes you to the homepage collections. So that is a collection on the homepage. I can actually check and see. Yeah, let's look at homepage here. So just inventory is greater than 0. Makes sense, that works. So it's sort of, oh, you're manually sorting them here. Okay.
Sorry about your holograms. Here comes my ass.
That you came on. Thank you for 67 months. Homepage is curated as it would be a bit heavy to specific creators, namely you, haha, if we did bestseller. Gotcha. I think some of these things, particularly the shirt hoard, should be doing numbers. And maybe I can help that along here. But yeah, so then each of the creators are broken up into their own collections. So for myself, there's actually 2 collections. Scream a Day is its own thing. And then there's the Me collection. And then we have the Alatus collection, which these are so cute. Love these. And then the Iron Clark collection. And then I'm not actually familiar with these 2 artists, but Craig it is. I don't know the backstories of them, but there's Staple Tapeworms who make some kind of cool weird abstract stuff that I actually quite like. Some stickers, shirts, wrapping paper. And then there is the shirt hoard. And the shirt hoard has some really cool stuff. And I think that's basically the extent of the store. There's a few like auxiliary pages. There's the blog. The blog hasn't been updated for quite some time, so that'll need a refresh. And then the about page, which let's see, it's a little blurb, and could use a little something, something else. Oh, and there's all the sort of like need to have pages for a store on Shopify. You got your cart page, got your accounts, stuff like that. So my objective is to jump in here, and because Craig and I have been busy, the store's been kind of dormant for a bit, and I want to really just dump my knowledge into it. And it's funny because the first thing I'm starting with is design, which is not what I do. But I have the knowledge from doing like many, many, many stores at this point of like what works, all the like sort of CRO and SEO stuff. CRO is, I think most people know what SEO is, but CRO is conversion rate optimization. It's just a boring term that basically means like essentially designing things in a way that makes it as optimal as possible to get a conversion from a visitor. It has a little bit of that corporate evilness baked into it, but to my mind, I view it as sensible layout and design and color choices and things like that make it really clear and really simple. Like when someone visits your store, they can get where they need to go, blah, blah. So, Craig has done all the heavy lifting stuff, honestly. Like the things that I'm doing are not going to, it's just going to pale in comparison to the stuff that Craig has done. Because Craig has worked out so much of like, the payment stuff, the taxes stuff, the like sourcing where these items are being created, figuring out like how is it going to break down for the creators, how much are they going to get, how much goes to the store, diddly-do. Can you see stats if people just look at things but don't buy? Well, yeah. I mean, there's the Shopify store itself has its own analytics, and you can see sessions, you can see, like where people are going on the store, you can see abandoned carts, blah, blah, stuff like that. And a lot of like optimizing a store is in, getting into those analytics and also getting like as much data as you can get, really. That's, the whole thing with like where every website now has the like cookies preferences and blah, blah, blah. Everybody knows that there's this really massive thing with just tracking. But that's basically the only way that you can really know how people are using your website and how you can learn anything about how to change it for the better, essentially. There's stuff that I don't know if we're going to get into or not. It depends on whether there's like, because this is a small operation here. This isn't like a giant store or something that's like doing numbers. So expensive auxiliary apps aren't really on the table or in the budget exactly. But you really want to do stuff like heat mapping, because that's good for catching stuff where like maybe you have like a lot of users coming in and they're like trying to click on something that they think is clickable but isn't, and then just leaving or something like that. So you would want to know stuff like that. And then A/B testing is massive. Like A/B testing is the way to know whether your shit is any good, because you can get these comparison. It's basically like little sort of studies essentially, because you can have a control, you can have variations, and then those will be randomly given to users, and you get all these stats back of like, well, how did variation A perform compared to the control? It's very complicated, but I've done a shit ton of it at this point, so I kind of know how it works. But it is, yeah, you're not wrong. But the data you get out of it is worth the pain to get it, you know? It's way better than, I think for me, I have a tendency to look at a lot of this stuff as like, I still have like almost rose tinted glasses about it, because I come from freelancing or like working on somebody's like pet prototype application type thing or whatever, where it was a world of, well, I think this button should be gold, and then people will click on it more. Okay, but how do you know? I just know that that will be better, and then you change it, and then like they look at like if any orders come in the next day. But it's like, you don't know that those orders weren't just gonna come in. Man, you didn't test anything. And just like oscillating on stuff like that forever, and it's the worst thing. It's just the worst thing. So anyway, I didn't even go into a product, so I'll go into this one here. So this is what the PDPs look like, or product detail page. Got a product image. If there were more, and there are more on like some of these, what's one that has more? This one has more. So this one's displaying all the variations of the product. You can have orange inside, or black inside, yellow inside. These are down here are kind of unnecessary, because you've also got the automatic, right? It's switching between the variant images when you change the variant. Quantity, add to cart, buy with shop pay, more payment options. Not looking to be doing that. Some details, a share button. So I want to revamp all of this. I want to make it like, not just, I've spoken a lot about like the sort of foundational kind of boring corporate-y stuff, but that is what I want to be the foundation that a much more fun and cool store is built on top of. But it would be good to have something that's, you know, on a solid foundation. So that's going to lead us into this. Also, I'm going to flip the disc. I also didn't really get into it, but there's some stuff on there. Actually, let me go back to it real quick. I'm not sure what products it's on. So there's size charts here for some stuff. So this is a sizing guide for this particular shirt, and it goes from extra small through 5XL. And then what else? Do all of mine No. These are great. Something's gone wrong with the gallery here. Whoa! These are so amazing. I still can't believe you found a way to do these, Craig. They're fantastic. Let's see. Actually, that one had an example of where there's certain things that we're trying to do a little differently with this store. Maybe it's somewhat unusual. One is to, first of all, we really want to put a focus on creators, and then further, like in this case, there's a few of my things that are split between other people. So like this shirt, the art was done by 6, and it's for Scream a Day. Was this 8? Yeah. So we split the proceeds on that, and then just transparently have that, on there. Yeah, Craig, I do want to see the price breakdown. I don't remember which products that's on. I also want to try to address this stuff a bit, where I don't love the sizing guides being like in the galleries. Oh, you murdered it with your other work? Ah, yes, the dress. This was really cool, honestly. I think it looks really great. Well, I would say kind of let that stuff lie, Craig, it for a bit, because I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna be doing stuff, man. I'm gonna be figuring all of that out in terms of meta objects, meta fields, how all this is gonna be displayed and so forth. Obviously, we're gonna work together on it, but just letting you know. But so what we were looking for, or what I was looking for, that Craig is referring to there, was that we also were displaying a breakdown of exactly where things go, in terms of how much was the product, how much does the store get, how much does the creator get, and I think there might have been another category or two, but just having it right there. So there's really this sort of dual focus, or more than really dual, but like creators, transparency, and I guess sourcing is really like, those are the 3 pillars. I am using version control, or at least I will be when I really get to building the theme. I've only laid the foundation in the code so far, but we have repositories set up, and I'm going to be, it's all going to be version controlled. A white retro console shirt that matches the wrapping paper. Oh, so with like a rainbow look. I think that could be cool, yeah. It is a little bit. Not that bad. I mean, it does draw the eye compared to everything else. But we're gonna, trust me, everything you're seeing now is under attack. So let me take you through what I currently have. I've been picking at this ever since I originally showed it to you guys. What you're seeing here is a style guide. So essentially, I was building this out. This really was like sort of really more almost like a sketchboard for me in terms of kind of figuring out what I want things to look like and coordinating it all, right? Like, what's the color palette? How are these going to work together? What fonts look the best with this stuff? There's actually, if I zoom out a bit and then turn these on, there's a lot of sort of sketchpad-y stuff going on all over the sides. But yeah, so essentially this was to figure out the sort of global appearance of things that I'm going to reuse in the design or throughout the design. And at some point along the way, I just really got to enjoying this color palette. And so what I aimed to do was I decided, actually, I want to have a sort of gentle light theme and a nice dark theme. So I'm actually developing two sites at once. So we've got our light theme and our dark theme. And the sort of inspiration is sort of just vague space stuff. The colors that I chose, these are actually using the exact same color palette. Alitus, thank you for the raid. Welcome, friends. But yeah, these are using the exact same color palette. So creating the dark theme is just rearranging where I'm using the colors. And the nebula is sort of what I had in mind, just nebulous gas clouds, you know, that sort of thing. And the palette is all based around that. So it's all plasma, fuel, matter, neon, atmosphere, blah, blah. Well, right. And I mean, light and dark is a preference. So I'm going to build it out to where you'll be able to choose which one. I actually probably build it out so that it just checks what your system setting is. And if you already are on a dark theme, it'll just set it to the dark theme and vice versa. But I'll also provide a switch with like a cookie so that you can switch it and then it'll remember. But yeah, I went with a font called something. Hold on. Gabarito, which is a Google font, and I just thought it looked really perfect. It's just sort of like there was something sort of like kind of sci-fi-ish about it. It has a future-y kind of feel to it, but also is really clean, and I just like it. I just feel like it looks great. It's nice and clear and easy to read. So, and then this is all defining out the sort of global font definitions, which then become these variables that I reuse throughout the design, right? So then I can build out CSS variables that just already, it's the fonts for desktop and mobile, ready to go, attached to classes. I can deploy them wherever I need them, however I need them. It's just a way I like to do things. And then getting further down here, a 1. There is a 1. So then it gets into more component-y things. So like I have these arrays of CTAs. These are just styles that I was testing out for buttons that are going to be used throughout the store. CTA just stands for call to action. It's just a common way of referring to buttons in a store design. and normal, hover, and active states. And then most of the rest of this is like cards. So I was just designing out like what cards might look like for products, and also creator cards. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to actually use any of these. I was just sort of playing around with themes and figuring shit out. Although I did think that these looked really cool. That said, I was working with the art that was currently available, which was pretty limited. So we are going to be. I'm going to be figuring out like the sizes and places that I need art from the original creators, and then probably provide the dimensions and things and try to get updated stuff from everybody. Because one thing in particular that I want to fix is every single one of these has text in it, and that's super bad practice. So I would like to get some like kind of avatar-esque art or something just from the creators themselves, however they want to represent themselves. And then these the backgrounds I threw together myself. So I just took some of their existing art and put it together to create a sort of nice high fidelity backdrop. And then I just have desktop and mobile versions of these cards. So, but yeah, don't know that I'm actually going to use these exactly the way you're seeing them here. This is more like vibes. And of course we have the dark version as well. A little tidbit with the dark version is I defined a drop shadow style that I called Dark Nebula for the light theme, and then one that I called Bright Nebula for the dark theme. So on the dark theme, everything kind of has this ethereal glow, which is fun. I think it looks pretty good. And then lastly, we have some iconography. So I'm just creating these by hand. Not the socials though. The socials I go out and find like what's your official SVG representation for your logo or whatever. I just have the 3 right now, but eventually I'll get all the common socials in so that creators can have those attached to their stuff. And then at the bottom I have my componentized footer. So this is gonna be
That's a lot of cake.
this is a stab at the footer for Cosmic Crate. I'm on the fence about if I'm going to add the Twitter icon, whether I'm going to use the old one and make it. The problem is, like, I want to use the old one because fuck X. But I think it makes you look out of date now because people have started to shift that over. And, you know, I don't care. I don't use the site anymore. I don't give a fuck. Thank you, Legend. Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's nice. I also have a vertical version of it. It's basically the same thing, but just oriented vertically. Icon on top, text on bottom. But it's just clean and I'm pretty happy with it. And Craig just keeps telling me, looks great, do whatever. so I am. That's going to be Craig's department in terms of what we're going to do with that. I don't know yet. And I think that that's sort of a tough thing to figure out as well, because it's like, how open-ended is it really? How open-ended should we be? So I don't know. We will see. I would assume that probably nothing during this phase of kind of revamping everything. But probably shortly after that. So moving on from the style guide, I established a lot of stuff here that I am now reusing to build other parts of the store. I've built out some components. I built out these like the font variables and some effects styles, spacing styles, things like that. Spacing, by the way, I use a layout grid of 12 columns is what I'm doing. 4 on mobile. It just helps to keep everything uniform. It's not, I mean, it can snap to the grid. It doesn't have to, though. I can go off grid if I need to, but it's just a helpful tool to kind of line everything up. Craigit is working on some stuff, though. He is working on some stuff, some cool stuff. Still kind of under the hood at the moment. So, here's what the header currently looks like that I've been working on.
To be clear, I'm only talking about the fact that you so often see like a picture of horses fucking.
Sorry. Thank you for 79 months. Excellent stuff. So the header design here, it's going to be sort of floating. And it's going to be a shy header. So essentially when you land on the page, you're going to see it kind of overlaid over the hero. The hero is like the top section at the top of the homepage. So it's just like your big like attention grabbing section, but the header is going to be sort of floating in it. But as you scroll down, that top bar there is the announcement bar. That's just for, I don't know, whatever stuff you just immediately want the customer to know. But as you scroll down, the announcement bar and the page are obviously going to scroll. The header is going to kind of catch itself on the top with a little space. And then it's going to be a shy header, so after a certain amount, it'll hide itself. But if you scroll back up, it'll show itself again. So that's how that's going to work. And the left side is like your important menu stuff. The shop button is it's plasma color. It's the big bright pink so that it's like the most attention grabbing thing for obvious reasons. And then auxiliary pages. That's going to be a mega menu, which is what you're seeing over here. We got our logo in the middle and then account. And I'm reusing the crate for the cart. So when you add stuff to your cart, I'm actually calling it your crate. And then it's going to put the little, like, how many things are in your crate number in the middle of the crate there on the header. I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's cool. I also like I mentioned that there was the drop shadows, right? The dark nebula and the bright nebula. So for the header, it's really hard to tell because of this particular placeholder image I'm using. This, by the way, this galaxy image thing here, I just got this off of Pexels. It's a placeholder image. It's not part of the design, just FYI. You need some imagery to do stuff sometimes. And then for the dark mode version, again, it has this sort of ethereal glow, which I'm just really pleased with. And the announcement bar also, I think, looks pretty cool. Like the dark mode, I can't decide, which is good since I'm designing this. I can't decide which one I like more. They both look great to me. It's almost like I'm competing with myself, because I usually start by designing the light mode version of stuff. And then I go and I do the palette swapping to do the dark version. And then I'm like, oh man, that looks great. But then I go back and tweak the light version. And I'm like, oh, this looks even better. So anyway. It does look like full screen, yeah. But I mean, you're going to know. And if anything, that's an okay click. I'll take that click. But anyway. So this is what the mega menu portion is going to look like. So when you click on shop, it's going to open this up, and it's going to have sub menus. It'll have a shop all button to take you to the full catalog. But the primary thing is going to be by creators. And then it's going to have these creator cards along in here. Again, this is kind of what I was talking about, where I just kind of threw some art together. This is not like permanent stuff. This is placeholder, but that's how this is looking at the moment. And here's the dark mode version of that, which I am also pretty pleased with. Cercero, thank you for 63 months. Appreciate it. And then by type, I have not built out yet, but the thinking there is I'm thinking I'm going to make a bunch of different icons that represent the different types of items. So like shirts, shorts, whatever else we got, you know? So just break it into the various categories, and then you can bring up a PLP that just has t-shirts, and you can then dig from there. And then, of course, the mobile version. It's also, I've only done just the header so far. I hadn't got to busting out the whole menu, but very similar. It's just like a super simplified version of the big header, right? So instead of having it, like all of the menu is compressed into this burger icon, which again I made, you know, brighter, more important, more eye-catching, and then your cart is super important, so it remains here as well. And then of course the store logo in the middle there. So not too much going on with the header yet, just sort of establishing the baseline. And then I've built out a bit of the homepage. Again, this is extremely placeholdery. This is not currently really built out. So I got to a certain point, and I've been kind of working on different pieces of the store here and there in various ways. So this was more so to kind of play around with certain kinds of sections, just to start to get a vibe. So the top one here, this is the thing I was referring to. It's called a hero. That's your big first thing people see, attention grabber type of section. And then these two are alternating 50-50s. So 50-50 is just 50% image, 50% text, basically, or half and half. And that's what these are. And that's all I've basically done so far for the homepage. But essentially what I want to do is build out a variety of different sections that could be used for different purposes, right? So feature certain kinds of content, maybe a creator feature, or like a tabbed creator browser type section, stuff like that. So there's lots more to do here, and this is just very templatey at the moment. Like this would handle, the things I've put here would handle sort of generalized, sort of almost generic content. But I want to do some stuff that's more functional or more bombastic, more presentational. Yeah, I'm totally open to feedback on the design. Just take into account the things that I'm explaining as well, though. Like with this right here, I know that this is not what I want for the final, like what I want for the homepage for the store. So I'm just trying to make that clear that there's more to come in this area. And I have to flip the disc. I'll be right back. To side 3, yeah. And then next up is the PDP, product detail page. This one has some caveats to it because there's a lot of variation in PDPs. So it's tough to build it out with just a couple of views. Like I'm going to have to design a lot of these to handle very different scenarios. Looks good, but I feel it clashes a little with the glow on elements. Oh, the blur in the background? So you mean on the header here? I think this is the only blur. Is this what you're referring to? And I assume you're referring to down here. Um, I think I see what you're saying. Particularly over here, there's something sort of. I guess it feels like it starts to lose definition. I mean, I can play with this sort of stuff. Like maybe it's not really optimal to have the glow on these cards. I mean, it might be too much, you know. Because that seems like it might be an improvement right there. So yeah, perhaps just a little too busy with it. I don't have to be this formulaic about it. That was the reason that I did that, because the cards here have the drop shadow, and so does the overall menu. But in this case, it just works better because everything here is brighter, and the sort of drop shadow doesn't take over and draw your attention. Versus down here, the glow is a little bit more prominent than that. So. But yeah, I think that improves the look of this for sure. So yeah, thank you. So let's head back to the PDP, and I'll kind of talk through this a little. So this is just like an example potential layout here. Basically, you got your reviews right up top, your name of the product, a little description, the compare price, the sale price, and like a little sale, badge to pop out. And then you got your variant controls. And I was really trying, like, one of the primary objectives with your buy box on a PDP is that you want the most important stuff to be above the fold if possible, or basically on screen when you arrive on the page, where they don't have to scroll down to find like the add to cart button or whatever. So I tried to come up with a design for these like your color choices, your size choices, get the price, nice and big and easy to find, and then bam, add to cart, and quantity as well. So it's all really tight and clean. You got your gallery on the left side. And then down here, I'm kind of designed out this accordion where some of the other information can go, like the sizing. So this would be like a tabbed table where you can switch between inches or centimeters to see what the exact sizings are for this particular piece of clothing. The like price split breakdown transparency stuff would probably also go in one of these. The gallery would be non-interactive, so what I'm imagining here is that whichever one is shorter would scroll with the screen. So like if the gallery was really tall and you're scrolling down through the gallery, only the gallery would appear to be scrolling, and the buy box would kind of hang on screen, and vice versa. If the buy box is really tall and you scroll, it'll be the gallery that starts scrolling. Wait, no, it'll be the gallery that hangs out. Anyway, basically just some fixed elements and try to make it like a real smooth experience. And then on mobile, the gallery will go horizontal and it'll be scrollable. You can swipe through. And then essentially it's exactly the same. One thing that's really convenient about this design is that mobile is just the same. It's a little bit narrower, but with mobile-sized fonts and spacings and stuff like that, it's essentially exactly the same. So it worked out very nicely. I'm very happy with the way that that looks. And I think it would be a really smooth experience on mobile. And then the dark version of the same thing, which I'm pretty pleased with. I think this looks really, really nice and pleasing, and feels pretty gentle on the eye, I think. Thank you, Seb. No share button at the moment. This is not a final design, though. I'm still working on pulling things in that are on the existing store. So, like, as I mentioned, I'm going to have to develop other views, so other sort of iterations of this same layout with different variant controls, different sizing controls. Some items have, like, men's and women's. That's another control that has to be represented. Oh yeah, I didn't do an inversion. This is all dark mode by hand. I'm going in and I'm choosing what I think looks best to my eye in every case. I'm using the same palette, so I'm not inverting anything actually. I am by hand. Like, you might notice that the variant controls are actually the same in the light and dark mode. There are no color differences between these other than the selection color, because I sort of chose an accent color for the dark mode as being this color that I called atmosphere. It's just sort of like a very neon teal. Versus in the light mode, it doesn't really work in the light mode because it kind of gets washed out. So I went with a darker blue that I called matter. Thank you. I hate the dark mode extension. I tried using it for a good long while. Forget what it was called. I think the icon for it was like a little robot. It did a terrible job. Dark Reader, yeah, boy, it's awful. I tried, like, I really hated the default theme. I tried customizing it to Capuchin. That was really no better because it's a fundamental problem in how it works. Like, it just doesn't matter what theme I put on it. It makes everything hard to read, which is like, it's in the name. I mean, I'm not being flashbanged by anything, which is great, but I can't read anything anymore. So, yeah, no. I just got so sick of turning it off. That was what it was. I tried. I really tried for a long time, but I finally just got rid of it altogether. But I don't know if a share is really worth having. That's one of those things where I would want to A/B test whether or not we have a share button. I think it's probably just a space waster. Maybe. I feel like it's even less worth having on mobile, because on mobile, you're both on Android and iPhone, share functionality is actually built in. Like, you don't really need your own button for it. It's right there in the browser. And also, that's even better because it's interactive with what you have installed. So you can just, like, hit the share thing. I mean, it probably depends on the browser you're using, but I don't know. It feels unnecessary to me today, but testing would give me the true answer. So I'm not going to say yay or nay. I'm going to say maybe. So this is where it's currently headed. One of the things that I think is notably missing at the moment is, how does this feature the creator? I've never, well, not never, but I haven't integrated that in yet. but it is my intention to do so. I'm just so, like I said, a lot of what I'm currently doing is trying to establish a solid foundation to then build on top of. So I'm still trying to figure out, like, real estate wise, where is that going to go? I don't want to like push everything down because, again, like with the buy box, your priority is to try to keep the important stuff above the fold as much as possible. I'm kind of debating on maybe squeezing in a banner for the artist, like right after the add to cart button. Maybe. I feel like I've thought about that, but I feel like a background image would be potentially adding a lot of noise, and this is currently super clean and easy to look at. And especially because I don't want to bubble the text as well. If the text were bubbled, then there wouldn't be any problem because then everything would be in a bubble and you can make the background whatever. But currently the text is floating on the background, so I'm worried about readability. I'm worried about busyness. And another thing of concern is that we should not just expose like super high res art from the creators anywhere on the site. Like, I personally am going to be exploring, like, if we use any assets that are beyond a certain size, I want to watermark them so that they can't be used to just make your own shirt, just by, like, pulling it from the store, right? Like, that's not a good idea. If they can just download the image and make their own shirt, then you've made a mistake. So anything above a certain size I want to be watermarked, which is not also probably not going to look great for a background. Yada, yada, yada. So I want to make it very deliberate. But there are other ways in which we'll be able to put focus on creators as well. Like, one of the things I'll definitely be doing here is, like I said on the homepage, I was kind of like test fitting different kinds of sections, right? So as an example of how that will then work, and what's really cool with Shopify is I can build stuff out and then reuse it anywhere, right? So for an instance here, this is not like what I'm going to do, but just so you can sort of have a sense of it. Oh, where did that end up going? That's not where I wanted you. So I'm pulling in a component, which is one of the homepage elements here. I've pulled in one of the 50/50s. And then bam, right? So this could be something where, I mean, not something like this. I would want to do something better than this, but I could do something like that. Have like a section that immediately follows the buy box that's like, here's a blurb about the shirt hoard, and then maybe like a product card carousel, like here's some featured new items from the shirt hoard, recommended, other popular items from the shirt hoard. You know what I'm saying? So I can just sort of stack sections from here on and build out more content that way. But I have to build out a library to use. So we actually have a kind of a long journey ahead of us here, because I'm basically approaching this as essentially what is typically the equivalent of like a 300-hour or more project. Like, this would be in the range of 300 to 350 hours, probably. Yeah, exactly. People who liked this also liked, and then boom. And we could set that up in a way to where it's like restricted to the particular creator who made the product of the page you're on, or it could be, it could pull from every product on the store or whatever. So there's a lot of flexibility there, and really it's however we want to do it. So however we want to approach it. And I'm coming at this from what I've seen clients do, the way that I see other stores that are, successful, the way that they're structured and built, and the types of content that seems to work well, and, that sort of thing. So I'm trying to bring that into this. Yeah, so I'll get this out of here, but I will be planning out like some different kinds of content, and like I said, I'll be building out more PDP stuff because I need to kind of get a handle on all the different kinds of controls. For instance, like to kind of explain that. So here we have a shirt. You can choose the color. You can choose the size. That's how this shirt works, right? That makes sense for this. And also, Craig, there's some discussion that will have to be had between you and I on some of this stuff where I might want to restructure the way the product is set up a little bit. And so we may need to communicate a little bit on like how flexible some of them are. Like, I don't know, for instance, if this one needs to be this way, because I feel like this makes sense because these are all logically variants on the same sort of thing. But I also, to some degree, almost feel like these should be independent products. I'm not sure. I'm undecided. But what would the controls for this be, right? I don't love drop-downs. I really don't like drop-downs. I try to avoid drop-downs as much as possible. So I think what I would, like, if we were going to keep these as variants of a single product, my approach would probably be to probably like a thumbnail switcher. I think that's probably how I would approach this. So there would be basically like a grid of thumbnails, and you can click on them, and they each have like a little image preview of what each one looks like, maybe the name of what it is, although the names of these are quite long because they're like emote name to emote name. So this is the kind of stuff you have to kind of think through and parse and figure out like what's the most optimal way to present this sort of thing in a way that people can like quickly get to what they want to get to. Okay, awesome. Yeah. The reason I was saying that is because I know that some of this stuff might be structured in a way that's necessary for like drop shipping fulfillment or something like that. And I don't want to mess any of that up. So we just have to communicate on that stuff to make sure there's no problem. And I'll, of course, let you know beforehand anything that I want to do like that. But the, like, definitely the collections are going to be essentially like the homepage for each creator on the store. So, like, for instance, the Shirt Horde collection is the Shirt Horde's page, basically. Now, of course, I want to restructure this sort of thing. But I think that does make a lot of sense. I'm still kind of working through it to try to determine if that's the best way or not. But it is a convenient way because you have access to all of, like, you can really organize the products very easily in this way. But I also feel like if you take the me example, like I have essentially two homepages on the store, right? These are both me. How does that work in terms of presenting a unified creator, right? So I feel like it's like I'm taking up two spaces where there could be somebody else. So right, got you, Craig. Well, yes. So there's another approach that we could take, which is landing pages. So a landing page is basically a templated page. Like this is probably not a templated page because it doesn't really have sections or anything like that. I think this is a basic page where essentially you've got the store header, the store footer, but the content of the page is actually just rich text versus, you know, the homepage where there's like sections going on here. There's a collection grid, there's a product cards grid, and it's like the stuff I was showing in my design where I've got like a 50-50, I've got a hero, I've got a buy box. But we could make landing pages for each creator. And then I could design sections for collating those like sub collections. You know what I'm saying? So then we can kind of separate the creators from collections, because in a lot of ways the collections are limited, right? So there isn't really a way in this example, for instance, to marry these two together. I mean, we can by sort of jank, like we can link them together, like how this is referencing me here, and then I have this blurb here. But a collection page is really a page around a list of products. Doesn't this have landing pages for art piece that shows products? Or am I thinking of other sites? Is that even the right idea? I'm not totally sure I followed the question, but basically I'm describing landing pages. So let me show you what I mean. So if I go into the store here, this is what customizing a Shopify store looks like. And they have they like, I think it was about 2 years ago now, they released Shopify 2.0. And 2.0 lets you have full control. Well, full control, I mean, the way it used to work is only the homepage used to work like this, where you had these sections where you could like kind of drag and drop or add new sections to your homepage and stuff like that, where you've got all these controls, right? You can do stuff like that and whatever. But you couldn't do it on any other pages. When Shopify 2.0 came out, all of a sudden you could do it on other pages, because the pages went from being liquid templates to JSON templates. So the templates are now just data. They're basically just lists of sections. So, yeah, if you go to like this contact page here, it's actually a templated page with the page section, which literally just spits out the rich text content. And then here is a contact form section. And you can turn that on and off. You can reorder it, yada, yada. So what we could do is we could build out a landing page and then build one out for each creator and have that be their homepage on the store. And that might be the way to go, just because of the flexibility. So you can actually just create a template right from in here. It does have to be based on something. So like I could do, I don't know, the shirt hoard. Create template. That's going to create a JSON template in the back end, and it based it off of just a default thing, that one of the default page template that just spits out rich text. And you can also you can build out settings. This is what I'm going to be doing, is when I'm designing sections, I'm defining the settings that are adjustable, customizable images, things like that. And that's all going to be defined and displayed in here, so that the sections that I build are not restricted to the design that you see me making. They're flexible, and depending on what settings I provide, you'll be able to you could change the background color, you could change the text color, you can change the image that's displayed. You can, like with the 50/50, do you want the image to be displayed on the left or the right? So like in my design, you see two 50/50s where they're like opposite layouts, but in reality, what I would build out is a single 50/50 with a checkbox that says, flip layout or something like that. Yeah, I mean, I can really build anything. Like, it doesn't have to be all collections on the homepage. This is just the same as it would be on the homepage, right? So I could like hide this or remove that section altogether. If I wanted to feature a particular collection, like right now the homepage on the store is showing the homepage collection, which is a manually curated one that Craig made. And that's what's showing all of the products there in a particular order. And then the section above that, if I go back to the home page here, is just a collection list. So a collection list, you can see you can set a heading. You could put a heading there. Control the size, the image ratio. This is all like, you can build this really any old way. And anyway, the actual individual collections are blocks here, where you just have a setting where it accepts a collection object. So you just set a collection, it puts it here, it pulls the image from the collection object. So that image is actually set to, I don't want to save any of that. If I go into collections, there's the shirt hoard collection. The image is set here. So it's pulling it from here. It's pulling the products from here. It's pulling, this is where the description lives for the shirt hoard. This is where the title lives. It's sorted by best selling. So that determines the order. And that's the order you get the data in when you pull it in a section. So honestly, I can build out anything. And I know the data structures of Shopify's front end really, really well. So there's just a ton of flexibility in how I can approach organizing all of this data and displaying it in various different ways. It's more of a question of like, what do we want to feature, where, how do we want to do it? And that's still in flux. That's what I'm trying to figure out by doing these designs. I don't know if I would expose that stuff, Craig. What I think would make the most sense would be for us to build it out like we are essentially like a social media site. I kind of envision that the creator's landing page should really almost act like a shoppable social media page. So it has some things that they can customize. What is their display name? What is their avatar? What is their banner? What are their socials? What is their webpage? And we can pull that data in dynamically into their landing page. And then I wouldn't go so far as like controlling the imagery, or not, sorry, controlling the settings of sections, because those are that's more about the sort of structure of the store, and I don't think it makes sense to tweak that stuff. But maybe, I think it would be pretty easy for us to make it customizable, like externally customizable. What collections of yours do you want to feature? I think that's very doable. We could build out a section that just asks an API for whatever. I think it would be pretty significant work, but we could certainly build out a way for more and more customization and control to be possible. But the more I think about it, the more a landing page per creator makes a lot of sense. But yeah, lots of possibilities, lots and lots of possibilities. Yeah. So ultimately, the way the store would work would essentially be a kind of like unified hub. Honestly, this is not terribly dissimilar from something like a Threadless or a Teespring. Philosophy-wise, very different, but in terms of how they structure their stores, they are essentially sort of like an ecosystem that is sort of has like sub stores within that are artist based or creator based, that sort of thing. So in the store itself, everything is intermingled, but there are sort of defined, like, this is the creators area type of thing, and you can find information about the creators on everything and get to their landing page, see their whole catalog. Yeah, I looked at the ET a bit. They have a wild design for their store. It's crazy. To be honest, in my opinion, a bit hard to browse, but it does look cool. It's very cool looking. Easy to get lost. Did I say Yeety? I might have. I see ye and I say ye. If it ye he ye. So, what would then a creator landing page kind of look like? Let's find out. Let's play around with that idea a little bit. So I've got these are just sort of the most basic structure of the store, right? Header, footer, page. So I can just slap sections into here. So if we were going with kind of what I was talking about, the hero in this case would essentially be... Wait, what is this? Hold on. I don't know what this frame is doing. Hello? Oh, it's just the world's tiniest frame. I thought that was the fucking handle. I thought it was the handle of the frame. It was the whole frame. Figma, why? Why did you make the tiniest little itsy bitsy frame? All right. Oh, for fuck's sake. Huh? What are you talking about, Fox? Yeah, I use Chatty. Let me bring up my Twitch chat. Holy shit. Okay. That's new. That's new and weird. Okay, so let's sort of start to get an idea then here of how this might work. I'm starting to have an idea in my head of, actually it's going to be very social media-ish the way I'm thinking of it. Because I'm imagining a sort of banner and like a floating, so let me give this color as well. Give that a layout. Let me give all of this a layout. Okay. I guess that doesn't really work the way I thought it would. I guess I need to do this. No, not like that. Like that. Not like that. It's definitely a good application that works well. and I have no problems with it whatsoever. So just absolutely positioning that. Giant Kono. So I'm sort of imagining like a social media-esque layout, where you have a banner, you have an avatar, a big sort of name plate sort of thing. Let me do this actually. Okay. That not in there, damn you. Do a bit of that. And then oh yeah. Yeah. I think I'm gonna like this. Oop, not what I wanted. Will this work? My God, what do I have selected? That's not what I wanted. Ah. Had the wrong thing selected. So basically, I'm just sort of like playing around here, um, with ideas just to see how's the vibe. How do I feel about this? How do I like this? Also, that giant nothing in the background is this. Get rid of that. And then, of course, I don't love that background color. I just did that so I could see what the heck I was doing. Maybe let's increase that. Maybe let's do this. Maybe. Probably add like socials in here. In this card sort of thing. And then oh, right. So the thing with this is that is basically a placeholder. I wonder why that didn't end up going like right up against, because essentially I want to make this banner thing a floating, absolutely positioned thing. Did you make a giant monster? You did. Very nice. Yeah, it's unfortunate because you probably can't do more than one of those per chat, right? Well, in some ways that's probably pretty fortunate. At any rate, I could do some other stuff here. So another frame. Let's do a layout. And then let's get some of these in here. Frame that. Probably scale this down a little. Give that a layout, centered. Screwed up my fixed width. Yeah, something like that maybe. Give this a layout. That. Container. Whoops. Where did that end up going somewhere? I hastily drug an icon. I think I undid it though. that, and why are you... Oh, right. I forgot. It does like auto padding, which sometimes is nice, but sometimes it's just like, this is kind of a hindrance, guys. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just playing around with this. A lot of possibilities. And we had only just now suddenly discussed what if creators had landing pages? But it could look something like this. And then following this would be other sections. I would probably group this as like one section here. And then I'll just bring in an example. Ah, that's why. Does Figma have a Z index? I'm actually completely new to Figma. Yeah, absolute position, but then like bring to front? Nope. Yeah, I don't know how to make that the most forward thing here. I guess because it is just, I don't know. I could do it with code. To be honest, that's not horrific either, but I liked the floatingness of it. So that's an annoying thing I'll have to figure out. Yeah. I think I'd have to massage the color scheme here a little bit. But I do kind of like this. The only thing is, like, this is a really big, solid colored block that, I don't know, I'm not sure that it totally works. Maybe if I want this to work, I have to actually raise it out to the page and then make it the last thing in the stack, probably. Yeah. Not ideal, but it gets the point across. So now I could slap other components in here. Definitely depends very much on what I have following it. Ooh. It's interesting. Can I not do other effects? Oh, I can. So it just considered that like one blob, huh? How about a sort of glass effect? Maybe a little something like that. I don't hate it. So then we could have stuff like, let me throw another frame in here and give it an auto layout, fill, container. Da, da, da. We'll do that for now, and then let me pop in here and grab one of these. Oh, perfect. It's already a component. So then I can do card. Yeah. Get like that. Auto layout on that. Do a 20 gap. Oops. Not what I wanted. Yeah. So we could have like a like kind of featured products carousel, something like that, maybe. It's very fascinating watching you work with Figma. I'm versed enough in Photoshop. I fumble around in Figma, even just to browse. I'm really new to Figma. I'm an old Photoshop head myself, as I think you guys know. But yeah, I've only been using Figma. I've used it, I think, 10 times total. But I think I have an advantage because Figma is very much based like closely around the way like actual browser web development works. So the underpinnings behind basically everything that you can do, it's all restricted to, not entirely, not 100% accurately, but quite close to what you would be able to do with like CSS and HTML. So it all just makes sense to me very naturally, and that I think makes it so that I can get around very easily. Namin? Yeah, so you could have something like this. Um, do that. Data heading 2. Yeah. So I mean, pretty rapidly, just slapping a page together here. And I could drive this through a number of different means, like the top section with the sort of floating creator card and all that stuff. This could be just settings in the section that we manually populate. Like we just enter in the socials, each of the socials for the creator, and then it just puts the icons in. Um, the like featured products, I could build out a section that has carousel functionality, and then we could have like blocks where each block represents a product. So you can just assign a product to like individual slides in the carousel, or it could pull from a collection and it could just build a carousel based off of the products that are in the collection. It would just have that many slides. It would feature exactly those products. Um, or I could use Shopify's recommendation engine, and I could display only products that are fed back to us from the recommendation engine API that are based off of customer behavioral data. So, yeah, that could be cool stuff. Oof. White, so bright. And then in the dev mode of this, I can then go in and browse this stuff I've just built and get the CSS for every little thing. Can export the images for web sizes, web usage. Gives me the positioning, all the styles, all that stuff. And I could write all this myself, but it's nice to just, boom, there it is. It tells me it gives me like the little DOM model, the border box. I can copy it out. You can also have it show you like mobile app versions of this stuff, which is great. It's a really, really, really good application. I like it quite a lot. Unfortunately, Adobe bought it, so it's good for until they ruin it, I guess. Good until then. Also have this sweet like ruler measurement thing, so you can get like distance between things. So there's 20 pixels there. This is 148 pixels here. You can just sort of boop, 82 pixels. So what's my page width then? It's 1276. So just nice stuff. Oh, did it get blocked? Did they not end up buying it? I thought that was a done deal. But yeah, I love building this stuff out. It's a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to the code part, but I want to make sure that the design part is super robust first. I want to build it all out into shareable components and, lay out all the style stuff. Mutually agree to terminate merger. Hell yeah, that rocks. That's awesome. I'm super glad about that. I did not know that. So then I can, I'm going to set the page to hug. I'm going to set the whole frame to hug. I love hug contents. It's hugging those contents. Sounds nice. So it looks like it's probably got like a little bit too much bottom padding. Maybe a little less. Yeah, that's probably good. This is how I would approach building it out, I don't know if this is the best approach for a creator's landing page, but you can kind of envision how it would be, right? You can put some like featured stuff right up top. Have some like informational stuff about the creator here, and then have CTAs that direct to like a collection, maybe a particular collection, like my latest stuff, or a series of things that I've made. And then I would take this, what I've done here, and smush it into the mobile view. And it's actually not all that hard, really. Like I've already got it sort of pre-set up with a page. So like I would literally take all this, duplicate it, drag it over. Well, there. Drag it like that. We'll do our auto layout. Oh, good God, it's escaping. And that's because I don't have, no, I do have. Okay, well there's your problem. There's your problem right there. Right, so then now I have this in here. It's a bit much, but then I would kind of pick through each section, start figuring out like how to get things arranged. So in the case of this one, right, so this is absolute. So we'll just do 414. Can't do that. So this one's weird because it's an absolutely positioned element like that. Minus 40, so would be 374. Yeah. Oh, how did that end up inside? Oh, because I was dragging it around. That's why. There we go. And then I'd have to think about, okay, well, how do I lay this out differently now? So probably vertically, I would say. And probably tighten it up in the vertical somewhat. Probably a centered design. And then everything underneath needs a little bit of adjustment. So we're using desktop heading 1. We're going to switch that to mobile heading 1. And then this whole thing could be probably centered, I'd say. This one as well, like that, and bam. There. Now we have a mobile version of the same sort of card. Still have the nice banner in the background. Blah, blah. Now, what's going on with you? Why do you have that? Oh, I know why. Because this happened for some reason. Turn that off. There we go. Easy peasy. That's how that works. And then, you know, just kind of walk down through each section, same story, right? So we need to go to our mobile fonts. So bam. And to be honest, this section was almost just done by that. Obviously, I've got unnecessary cards out the sides, but this is already a nice setup for a mobile carousel because it's got the little peak. The peak coming in on the sides to say, hey, try scrolling this. You don't even need any controls. Just, hey, try scrolling this. And it's nice and clean. Probably would be, it could be worthwhile to add like dots or something to show some nav of where you are in it, but yeah. And then I'd say probably, oh, the other thing is I did design mobile components for the cards, so I could actually, boop, after everything I just said. The desktop cards really work just fine, so maybe the mobile cards are kind of unnecessary. So I've got half cards, and then I've got, that would really be for a grid, and then I've got the full cards. My friend, where did you even go? Here, yeah, get in there. But this does have mobile font stuff and button size already set up. So I do a couple of these. And then, so we lose the peak because of that. So what I would probably do is adjust the width of the cards. So right now it's already sized, accounting for a 20 pixel gutter on each side on mobile. How much further would I want to go? How much peak do I want is really the question, right? So maybe 20 pixels on either side. Like that. And the nice thing with these components is that they are all their own little independent layouts. So they will auto adjust with whatever I do. So like I could go further. Let's take another 10 pixels off of each side.
You have achieved level 69. Assume the position.
That's pretty good, right? I like that. Apt Mage, thank you for nice months. And then beyond that, I would probably tighten up the paddings a little bit because they're a bit much for mobile. So maybe instead of 100 on top, maybe like 80 and 40 on the bottom instead of 60. Nice and tight. Right? Looks good. And you're just thrown into it. Like, boom, you're on the Shirt Hordes page. Here's their socials. Here's their products. Check that shit out. And then you just kind of can do whatever content-wise beyond that as you go down, you know? So we have our 50/50s. So actually, what will probably work better here, I can detach these components. I'll just go ahead and do that. I have componentized mobile ones already, but I'm just going to detach these since they're already here. So now with this, we'll want to do a vertical as opposed to a horizontal layout. Same here. Fill the container. Fill the container. Oh yeah, this needs it up top too. Fill the container. And then I need you to hug. And I'm gonna need you to hug. Here we go. And then just need, like, I like the full width image cards, but I would remove the rounding so that they just go flush to the sides. Right? Do that for this one as well. Further, the extra padding is a little weird. It's like, what is this between these? So I probably wouldn't use these back to back like this, because they just, what's going to happen is that the cards are going to, or the images are going to touch, and it's going to look weird. So this is not like, again, I'm doing placeholdery stuff and playing around, so like definitely take all of this with a big grain of salt. Because then that happens, but it's whatever. This is an example. So now for the text area, we want a little gutter away from the sides. Same for this other one. Like that. And then we want our mobile fonts. So call out desktop becomes call out mobile. H2 desktop becomes H2 mobile. Body large. Body regular. Same stuff down here. Again, like, I would do this stuff normally, just do it once and componentize it. But I thought it'd be kind of cool to run through a whole sort of transition for one of these things. You get a taste of like how it's built. And then that just leaves our CTAs, which are desktop versions right now. CTA mobile, fill container, CTA mobile, fill container. And then to fix the image touching thing, which I don't like, I mean, the simplest thing would be to just do this. And then fix my padding situation. So put that on the bottom. There we go. Which settings-wise, in the actual built component, I would definitely be able to do, so it would be fine. And I'm actually going to add, I'm going to bump that back up to 60 on the carousel. Just kind of match the spacing top to bottom there. And that is sort of a designed page. Desktop and mobile, ready to go. This could be translated into Shopify sections, built out. Ready to rock. I'd probably still customize various colors. Like in the case of the carousel cards here, they have an almost black CTA, which doesn't look great. So something a little bit more pop would be good. Although the way I just chose to do it was problematic because it changed the product title text color I didn't want to do. So let's make that a little lighter. can't tell which one I selected. It looks like it's one card connected through. Not the one I wanted, I'm sure. Yeah, we'll do that. And then now that those are separated, I should be fine to...
I know you already ate dinner,
Oh.
but I finally made something for myself.
Yes.
And I made too much, and then I really needed garlic bread, even though I already had too much food. And I know you would be sad if I made garlic bread and you didn't get any. So I made you garlic bread, and I put some of my noodles on there.
Thank you, Babby. Man.
Do you want more?
No, I probably shouldn't have more. I didn't
want to fuck you up.
Now
But I could bring you a little bowl, because this is still, like, too much.
my nose and eyes are bigger than my stomach. I guess bring me whatever if you can't go any further. But thank you for this. This is cute. Yeah, I got a little garlic bread with a little bit of noodles and mushrooms and sauce on top. It's like a cute little, I don't know, it's a cute little bread treat. Maybe the plasma would really be better. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's sort of my process as it stands. Hopefully that was interesting for you guys. I have no idea. But I'm definitely enjoying it. And I'm trying to figure this store out, you know. I'm trying to make a pretty store. I'm trying to make something that's really going to serve the creators well. And I'm hoping that, like, building this out and also improving some things in other areas in terms of like SEO and CRO and various other integrations, getting a reviews system in here and having that available and so on, should help to grow the store outside of our sort of insular communities as well. I think also bringing in more creators and also involving our current creators more will also have that effect, because you don't want to have a stagnant store either. So those of you who are creators and have stuff on there already, it would definitely be cool to see more new stuff. I'm going to try to come up with some new stuff of my own as well to try to get it into the store. Thank you, guys. So yeah, then the process from here would be to basically copy all of this stuff over to the dark mode and start tweaking and changing the palette over to the dark mode to make sure that that's supported as well. Yeah. Just lots to do. Lots to do. Yeah. I need to build out the creator form as well, speaking of that, and provide some sort of, probably a subject selector for like suggestions, requests, you know, or whatever. Product suggestions, that sort of thing. So beyond this, I also started the cart design, but not much yet. This is about it. Just this here. But what I'm going to develop out is a drawer cart that will be a fly out from the side. So whenever you add to cart, or if you click on the cart button, it's going to open your crate, and it's going to have a product list in here. You'll be able to remove products that you've added or increase or decrease the quantity. It'll give you subtotal, blah, blah. Pretty straightforward. And then my preference is to build out both a drawer, but also support the cart page itself. So both are going to essentially share the cart functionality and have similar layouts and doodly do. This one will be more interesting, but it's going to take me more time to develop it out to where it is actually interesting. Yeah, I like that idea as well. To make it easy for people to collaborate and do splits, basically. The only thing I worry about with that is, like any sort of, you don't want to create a situation where people have something to fight about if you can avoid it. Hey, what do you think you're doing? Mr. Man, what do you think you're doing? Maybe what we could do would be to provide a system that is somewhat rigid so that there isn't much to fight about. So for an example, maybe it's always a set percentage, because that's what I'm worried about people fighting about. It's like, well, this is me, so I should get more because this is about me, even though you did the art. Whereas the artist would be like, well, you wouldn't have this without my art, yada yada. So I wonder if maybe it's like a set sort of rigid. Always, this is the split. I don't know what would be ideal. I don't think 50-50 is necessarily correct. Because I think that whoever is the sort of creator is we have to find out what rates are typically. I would want it to be fair to the artist and fair to the creator somehow. So that's something that would be an open discussion to figure out. And there's that channel. Well, actually, that whole server, the whole Cosmic Crate server, probably be a good discussion to have there, and get artists and creators' opinions on the matter and so forth. I'm feeling like it probably should be more lopsided towards the creator. And I'm trying to come at that from a non-biased view. It's just, to me, it seems like the creator is the reason that the product exists and is probably where the eyeballs are coming from and the whole point of the product moving it all. So the artist can adjust what they are choosing to do, the amount of work or level of work they're wanting to put into it based off of that set rate. Something like that, perhaps. Really, Alatus? Well, so this wouldn't prohibit you from doing that sort of thing outside of the system, Tenosis. It's just a matter of I don't know. It may be something that we maybe shouldn't incorporate into it and just let everybody figure that shit out on their own outside. But I don't know. Within the system, it can have that transparency thing of exposing the creator's getting this amount, an artist worked on this, they're getting this amount. So, I don't know, something to think about, something to discuss. And it's something that the store can certainly facilitate to some degree. I think at the moment the store doesn't get much. I think Craig and I kind of share the view that the store should get the least. But there is the main consideration there is the cost of effort to, you know, pay for the store itself, you know, and that dictates like what is the budget that the store has to do stuff for the creators and artists. So it's not something where you can't expect that it would be nothing, because then it can't operate. But I think that both of us feel like the structure should be that it's fairly minimal, because the objective isn't to make money, like, you know, get rich off the store or something like that. It's about facilitating, it's about transparency. So
I tried as hard as I could to save you from yourself, but I couldn't do anymore.
okay. Thank you, Abby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah? What's going on with your shop, Matt? Nice, nice. I mean, that seems like a good thing. But I mean, there are always difficulties with running anything like this, of course. Ooh. That's very cool, but also sounds like a fuck ton of work. If it's a pain in the ass, then you better be charging a decent rate. Yeah. So they're getting a cut in that situation. So it's a partnership, because to me that sounded like, I mean, that sounds to me like you should be charging them. Like what are you gaining from that partnership? It sounds like they're getting from you a lot. Like they're getting your product and they're getting paid. Wait, what? I don't think that's how normal equipment rentals go. But I don't know what that space is like. I don't know if that's typical or if that's something where you should be putting your foot down more and being like, no, if you want to use my stuff, you gotta either rent or buy my stuff. Also, here's a contract. you know, I don't know if it's that sort of a situation where you have that kind of leverage or not. Nice. I'll take a look at that right now. Oh, wow. Oh, they're even lit? Or is that UV sensitive? Is that like UV light stuff or is it actually lit? That's crazy. Glow in the dark. Okay, cool. That looks really cool, man. Yeah, I see. I don't understand why they're getting a cut. Are these being sold to the? Are these being sold by them? Is that what's happening? Like sold by them to the participants, and then you're both taking a cut of that? That would make a bit more sense. Huh. I see. So their view of it is that somehow their name is, I guess, increasing your sales. Yeah, I don't know, man. That is a rough situation. I don't have any experience with navigating anything like that, so I would be struggling with it just as much as you would be. But I hope it works out however it goes. Yeah, no, you've been busy. But it's cool, man. It's cool that your stuff is taken off like that and the people like it and you're carving out like a kind of a niche there and that's cool to see. Oh, but yeah, I think I am done for tonight. I'm gonna go enjoy this lovely snack that Nakomi brought me. But I hope you enjoyed seeing a bit of the store here and what I've been working on. I've been very much obsessing over it, and it's. I think it's. I don't know. I'm pretty excited about it. I think it looks pretty good. I'm hoping that people will really like the resulting store. I hope that it'll help to like move some product for the creators because, like I said, there's some really cool stuff on there, and I think that we just need to draw more attention to it. We need to present it better to really show off, like, you know, look at these cool designs. Look at this cool stuff people made. You can buy it. Here it is. Um, so, yeah, I'm excited about it. Thank you for watching, everybody. And yeah, thank you, Craigit. Your work on the store has been awesome all this time. and I'm excited to work with you on it going forward. And that's it. I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody.